Have you ever felt like something was off in your relationships, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it? Maybe you've sensed a shift in how certain people treat you, yet you push those feelings aside, hoping it's just a phase. The truth is, subtle behaviors often speak louder than words, revealing when someone doesn't truly value you. These behaviors may seem small or insignificant, but over time, they chip away at your self-esteem and leave you questioning your worth. If any of this sounds familiar, it might be time to look closer and protect your emotional well-being. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward taking back your power and surrounding yourself with people who see your true value. In this article, we'll uncover 5 hidden behaviors that show someone doesn't appreciate you, and more importantly, we'll explore how you can reclaim your worth and rebuild healthier connections. Ready to dive in? Let's begin. Part 1. Disrespect disguised as jokes and betrayal behind your back. It starts subtly. A seemingly harmless joke about your choices or your personality, maybe from a friend, a colleague, or even a family member. They laugh and everyone else follows. But you're left feeling a sting you can't quite shake. That's disrespect hiding under the cover of playful teasing. Over time, these small jabs pile up, each one chipping away at your confidence, your sense of self. What they pass off as humor is often a window into how they really see you, less than you deserve. Then there's betrayal, and it cuts even deeper. Trust is something you give freely to those you care about, but what happens when that trust is shattered? It's like opening your heart to someone, only to have them use your vulnerability against you. Maybe they've shared a secret you confided in them, or perhaps they've undermined a project you worked hard on. The pain of betrayal is visceral. It's the knife that twists when you realize someone you trusted didn't value the sacredness of your trust. It leaves you questioning not just them, but yourself. How could I not see it coming, you wonder? Disrespect and betrayal, though different, go hand in hand. They both stem from a place where the other person fails to recognize your value. They tear at the fabric of trust and care, leaving behind only doubt and hurt. But here's the key. These wounds, though deep, don't define you. It's not about condoning their behavior, but about understanding that your worth doesn't decrease because someone fails to see it. And as hard as it is, forgiveness, real, self-healing forgiveness, means putting down that heavy burden they've left on your heart and walking away lighter, stronger, and with your boundaries clearer than ever. When you learn to recognize the subtle digs and betrayals for what they are, you take the first step in reclaiming your space and choosing to protect your emotional well-being. You're not powerless in this. By standing up for yourself and setting firm boundaries, you send a message to them and to yourself that you are not to be treated with anything less than respect. Part 2. The silence that speaks volumes. Ghosting in communication. Have you ever sent a heartfelt message to someone you care about, only to be met with deafening silence? That sinking feeling, the uncertainty that creeps in when days pass without a reply, it can feel like you're screaming into an empty void. This isn't just about a missed text or a forgotten call. Ghosting is more than that. It's a deliberate silence that tells you something you've been trying to avoid hearing. You're not a priority. Imagine reaching out again and again, sharing pieces of your life, your thoughts, your worries, only to be met with nothing. No response, no acknowledgement. It's not just about being ignored. It's about feeling invisible to someone who once mattered to you. It's as if they've built an invisible wall between you and them, shutting you out without explanation. You're left questioning everything. Did I do something wrong? Are they angry with me? But the truth is often simpler and more painful. They just don't care enough to respond. Ghosting creates a sense of emotional abandonment, leaving you to wonder why they've disappeared and what you could have done differently. The uncertainty is agonizing. It's not just the silence that hurts, it's the message that silence sends. It says, "You're not worth my time." And with every unanswered message, every ignored call, the chasm between you grows wider. But here's the reality. Ghosting reveals more about them than it does about you. It speaks to their inability to confront difficult conversations or handle emotions maturely. It's a reflection of their lack of emotional investment, not your worth. Their silence is a choice not to value the connection you've tried to build. What's important to remember is that your value isn't tied to someone else's willingness to communicate. Their silence doesn't diminish your worth. It's a painful reminder, but it's also a powerful opportunity to reclaim your energy. Rather than chasing after answers that may never come, redirect your focus on those who show up, who engage, and who make you feel seen and heard. Ghosting hurts, but it's also a blessing in disguise. It shows you who's truly meant to be in your life and who's just passing through. By letting go of those who treat you as an afterthought, you open the door for more meaningful, reciprocal relationships to enter. You deserve people who respond with care, who show interest in your world, and who make you feel valued, not only when it's convenient for them, but because you genuinely matter. Part 3. The self-absorbed, when you're just a supporting character in their story. Have you ever been in a conversation where it felt like your words didn't matter? Where no matter what you said, the person across from you somehow twisted the topic back to themselves? It's as if they only hear your voice as background noise, a stage for them to take center spotlight. Self-absorption. It's a behavior that can be subtle at first, but over time, it becomes glaringly obvious. You find yourself shrinking, your thoughts, feelings, and achievements constantly overshadowed by their need for attention and validation. It starts innocently enough. Maybe they love sharing their experiences or their latest triumphs. But slowly, you notice that every conversation circles back to them, what they've done, what they're going through, your moments, your accomplishments, your struggles. They're sidelined, dismissed, or worse, used as a launchpad for their own narrative. You begin to realize that in their world, you're not a co-star. You're just a supporting character. This kind of narcissistic behavior chips away at your sense of importance in the relationship. You might start to feel like your voice is fading, that your thoughts aren't worth as much because they're never truly heard. You share something personal, hoping for understanding, and instead, you're met with a story about how they went through something so much worse. It leaves you feeling unseen, as if your experiences aren't valid unless they fit into their grand story. It's exhausting, emotionally draining to always be the one listening, supporting, and applauding while receiving little to nothing in return. Over time, this dynamic creates an emotional void, leaving you questioning why you even bother to share when the conversation always comes back to them. But here's the hard truth. Their self-absorption isn't your responsibility to fix. You don't exist to fill their emotional gaps or constantly validate their achievements at the expense of your own. When someone consistently makes everything about themselves, it reveals a deep-rooted insecurity, an unquenchable need for attention that no one person can satisfy. And you deserve more than being someone's emotional backdrop. It's time to take back your space in these relationships. Begin by recognizing when the conversation shifts unfairly and gently but firmly, steer it back to balance. If they can't give you the space to be seen and heard, then it might be time to reconsider how much energy you're willing to invest in them. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect, where both people have room to share, to feel important, and to be valued for who they are. You are not meant to be a footnote in someone else's story. You deserve to be celebrated, heard, and understood. When you stop settling for relationships that drain you and start demanding reciprocal connections, you reclaim your emotional power. You don't have to tolerate the self-absorbed behavior that leaves you feeling empty. Instead, seek out those who will stand alongside you, listening as much as they speak, lifting you as much as you lift them. Because in real, meaningful relationships, you are never just a supporting role, you are always a star. Part 4. Absence in your time of need, when their silence speaks louder than words. We all go through tough times, moments where life feels overwhelming, and all we need is someone to lean on. It's in these moments of vulnerability, when we reach out for support, that we truly see who's there for us. But what happens when the ones you count on are nowhere to be found? When in your most desperate times, they disappear, leaving you to face your struggles alone? Their absence doesn't just leave a void, it sends a powerful message. You're not a priority. Think about the times you've needed someone, a friend, a partner, a colleague, during a personal crisis, or even just a challenging day. You're looking for comfort, maybe just a simple, "I'm here for you." But instead, you're met with silence. No text, no call, no sign of concern. In those moments, it's not just the lack of presence that stings, but the realization that their absence means your pain wasn't enough to draw them in. This kind of emotional abandonment cuts deep. It leaves you questioning the bond you thought was there. You wonder, where are they when I need them the most? And with each unanswered plea for support, the distance between you grows. What's worse, they may resurface later, acting as if nothing happened, unaware or unconcerned about how their absence affected you. Absence during tough times is a glaring sign that someone doesn't value your relationship as much as you do. True connection shows itself in moments of hardship. It's easy to be present during the good times, to celebrate the victories and share in the joy. But it's when life gets heavy, when the weight of the world feels unbearable, that the real strength of a relationship is tested. When someone fails to show up for you consistently, they reveal where their priorities lie. And sadly, they don't lie with you. It can feel like a betrayal, but it's also a clarifying moment. Their absence speaks louder than their presence ever did. It tells you that you cannot rely on them when it truly counts, and that's a painful truth to face. But you don't have to stay stuck in that disappointment. Recognizing their lack of support gives you the power to realign your expectations and reclaim your energy. You deserve people who will stand by your side, not just in the sunshine, but through the storm. People who won't shy away when things get tough, but will walk through the fire with you, offering comfort, strength, and unwavering support. So what do you do when someone you counted on isn't there? You take that moment as a sign that it's time to surround yourself with those who value you enough to show up when it matters most, because you deserve relationships that nourish you, not drain you. You deserve people who will be present, not just in words, but in action, especially in your darkest hours. When you prioritize your own well-being and let go of those who leave you feeling abandoned, you make space for new, deeper connections to flourish. Don't settle for silence. Seek the people who will be there, holding your hand when the world feels too heavy, reminding you that you're never alone. Part 5. Undermining your achievements when they diminish your success. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into something, whether it's a project, a promotion, or a personal goal. You've worked hard, sacrificed sleep, and finally achieved what you set out to do. You're excited, proud, and eager to share this moment with those closest to you. But instead of celebration, you're met with a dismissive comment, a cold reaction, or worse, they downplay your success as if it doesn't matter. That's when you realize they're undermining your achievements. It's not always obvious at first. Maybe they say, "Oh, that's great, but it's not that big of a deal," or "anyone could have done that." These subtle jabs hurt more than outright criticism because they come from people you expected to be your biggest cheerleaders. Their words are a quiet dismissal of everything you've worked for, leaving you feeling like your success wasn't worth celebrating after all. This behavior isn't just about a lack of support, it's about diminishing your self-worth. By downplaying your victories, they make you question your own achievements, as if what you've accomplished isn't enough. It's a toxic way of keeping you small, of keeping the spotlight away from you, where it rightfully belongs. The more they do this, the more you start to wonder if your accomplishments really matter, and slowly, they rob you of the joy you've earned. But the truth is, your success doesn't need their validation. When someone consistently undermines what you've worked hard for, it reveals their insecurity, not a reflection of your abilities. Perhaps they feel threatened by your growth, or maybe they're envious of your success because it reminds them of what they haven't achieved. Whatever the reason, their inability to celebrate with you says far more about them than it does about you. The pain of having someone you care about minimize your accomplishments is real, but it's also an opportunity for clarity. It's a chance to step back and recognize that you deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up, not pull you down. People who celebrate your wins as if they were their own, who remind you how hard you worked and how proud you should be. It's not about needing constant praise. It's about having people in your life who see your efforts, acknowledge your success, and share in your happiness. When someone undermines your achievements, they're showing you that they're not truly invested in your growth. And as hard as it may be to accept, letting go of these people might be the most empowering thing you can do. Start by owning your success. Celebrate your achievements, regardless of their reactions. You don't need their permission to feel proud of what you've done. Recognize that their attempt to minimize your accomplishments doesn't make them any less significant. You've worked hard, you've earned your moment, and no one can take that away from you. By surrounding yourself with people who genuinely celebrate your success, you allow yourself to grow in ways you never imagined. You create a circle of support that lifts you higher, that encourages you to keep striving for more, and that fills you with the confidence to pursue even bigger dreams. Because at the end of the day, you deserve to shine, and no one's insecurity or envy should ever dull the light you've worked so hard to create. So when they try to downplay your success, stand tall, know your worth, and remind yourself that your achievements are worth celebrating, every single one of them. Conclusion: reclaiming your power and embracing your worth. As we've journeyed through these hidden behaviors, disrespect, ghosting, self-absorption, absence in times of need, and undermining your achievements, it becomes clear that the way others treat us says so much about their values and investment in our relationship. These behaviors might seem subtle at first, easy to overlook or dismiss, but over time, they take a toll on your sense of self, your confidence, and your emotional well-being. The hardest truth to face is that sometimes the people we care about most are the ones who undervalue us the most. But here's where your power lies: recognizing these patterns and choosing to break free from them. You deserve more than silence, than feeling overshadowed or undermined. You deserve relationships built on mutual respect, trust, and celebration. And while it may be painful to acknowledge that not everyone in your life values you the way you deserve, it's also the most liberating realization you can have. This is your chance to reclaim your worth, to draw clear boundaries, to demand better, and to walk away from those who can't or won't give you the respect you need. It's about recognizing that your value doesn't depend on how others treat you. It's rooted in who you are, in the love, care, and energy you bring to your relationships. And those who truly appreciate you will never make you feel small. As you reflect on the relationships in your life, ask yourself, who uplifts me? Who is there for me when I need them the most? Who celebrates my success without hesitation? These are the people worth keeping close, the ones who see your brilliance and want nothing more than to watch you shine. So let this be a reminder: you are worthy of love, respect, and care. Don't settle for anything less. Surround yourself with people who see your worth, who support you in both your struggles and your triumphs, and who remind you of just how incredible you are. The strength to walk away from those who diminish you is within you, and with it comes the freedom to build the kind of relationships that allow you to grow, flourish, and truly thrive. You deserve to be valued. Don't ever forget that.